Welcome to Shooting Straight with AWF.com. I'm Frank Miniature, the editor-in-chief. The editor is America's First Freedom. Today we're speaking with Vincent Hancock, five-time Olympian, four-time Olympic gold medalist in skeet. And Vincent, I've lost track of how many world championships he won, and I'm not even going to try to rattle that off. But let me just begin with asking you, and then we jump right into it here. What's it like being this role model coming back and dealing with so many, I would imagine, so many young shooters coming up to you?
For me, I don't really necessarily see myself as being a role model. I just see myself as a guy that gets to do what I love and that has a chance to be able to impact people in a positive way. And so, being at my shooting range here at North Lake Shooting Sports, we have over 400 kids that practice here on a weekly basis. And we just held a really big youth shoot last weekend. We've got another one coming up in 2 weekends. So we focus on trying to bring the shooting sports to people, whether that be kids on the high school level or middle school level, or just anybody that wants to come out and enjoy. That's really what I feel the shooting sports has given me as a platform to be able to speak to people about the shooting sports, about what it can do across the entire globe, as well as just how much fun it really can be too.
It was amazing to watch you in Paris, or actually, I think where you competed this summer was far outside of Paris, but in France, in the Olympics. But it was a bit hard to find. I think I ended up using the Peacock app in order to see the shooting events. Um, what's your experience there? I mean, are they showing you enough? You feel like you're getting enough exposure from mainstream press, or how does that going?
I think that they tried to do a better job this time, and obviously they had us on Peacock, so every discipline, every sport was shown on Peacock this year, which is again a far cry better than what it's been in the past. But I still think that knowing that we had in my individual event myself as well as another guy going for gold and silver at the very end, I would have thought that they would probably wanted to put that on a just across the entire U.S. And I've seen some people that said, "Oh yeah, I saw this here or saw this there," but most of it was just a recounting later on in the day. But most people just watched it on Peacock. So yes, I do wish that they would show us more, especially when we're going for medals, and especially when you're going for a historic fourth gold in a row too. I know that Katie Ledecky that did the same thing that I did this year, and tying the other five people that have done four golds in a single individual event. Obviously, she had a lot more publicity than I could ever dream of. But for me, as long as my family got to watch, and I had my wife and daughters there, and I had my friends and had my family, and then a bunch of people back here downloaded the Peacock app just so that they could watch us on the shooting sports. So that was neat. At least they had that opportunity to, while it was a little bit cumbersome, they still got a chance to see.
That's what I did. I downloaded the Peacock app just because I wanted to watch the shooting events, which I couldn't find elsewhere. In Tokyo, when you competed and won a gold medal, it was broadcast, and I forget which NBC station had it, but you could watch it just on regular cable channels.
Yeah, it depends on what it is. Because in 2008 they showed my final on a live stream on NBC. As I had people from New York that said they watched it, and then I had people from Atlanta watched it, from California, so all across the U.S. they were there. But it's like they just pick and choose kind of when they want to show things, and so I don't really worry about it too much. I do wish that for the shooting sports as a whole, we had more opportunity to be in front of people, because the shooting sports are the safest sport in the world, as you know, I'm sure, and we have an opportunity to really show people the difference between our sport and a lot of the other sports, and show them just how fun it can really be.
Well, on that, let me step back a second because I think you started competitive shooting when you were 11, and your father was a competitive shooter. What was your journey into this sport?
So I started when I was 10, and then I found the Olympic discipline when I was 12, right about to turn 12 at least. And so I started American skeet just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. And then I went quickly into sporting clays and just found a real passion for it. It was just so much fun. And I always go back to that word fun. And they say if you're having fun doing what you love, then you never work a day in your life. Well, that's kind of been the majority of my career. Sometimes it goes off into work, but for the most part, I love what I do. And so at 12 years old, I went to the Atlanta range after being told that shooting was even an Olympic sport, which my father and I didn't know. And On a Saturday, I shot my first rounds of Olympic skeet. I shot really well. I looked at my parents like, "Hey, this isn't that hard. Like, I could do this. This could be done pretty quickly." And then I come back the next day and I shoot absolutely terrible. I don't shoot anything above like a 15 or 16 out of 25. And it was on the drive home that night that I told my parents, this is what I want to do. I want to go to the Olympics and I want to win a gold medal. And a few months later, my dad, who was in construction at the time, used some extra materials that he had from a few different job sites, and we constructed a skeet field in our backyard. And that's really where my official journey to the Olympics began.
One heck of a father, getting you involved in that way and seeing their potential, or at least giving you a shot at it. Who knows what a kid's
Yep.
potential is?
Yep.
And
No,
I
it
think
was
you
awesome.
served in the Army and were on the shooting team with the Army, if I'm not incorrect.
Mhm. Yep. I was
Uh,
in the Army Marksmanship Unit for 6.5 years.
was that while you were in college, or how did you transition to that?
So I went straight into the military out of high school, and I actually was in the military before I was done with high school. So I joined in 2006, the summer of 2006, between my junior and senior year of high school. My parents had to sign off and allow me to do it because I had just turned 17. But I knew that if I wanted to make the 2008 team and I wanted to join the Army at the same time, that I was not going to be able to do it after I graduated from high school in 2007. So they sent me off to basic training for the summer of '06. I missed my first week of my senior year of high school, but I came back. I finished my senior year. I actually shot with the marksmanship unit and traveled on TDY through the reserves. And then as soon as I was done with my high school in summer of '07, I went to the unit. I shot there for about 4 months, got through the first Olympic selection. And then as soon as that was done, like 3 days later, they shipped me out to finish my AIT. And so I got my additional training done. As soon as that was done, I shipped back to Fort Benning and was permanently duty stationed there with the marksmanship unit.
So when you first competed for the Olympics or the Olympic trials to get in the Olympics, you were in the Army at the time.
I was, yes. That was my first experience with the Olympics, was wearing the black and gold vest and with the Army star on my back. So it's quite an experience. And I was still very young, but I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew that they were going to give me the best opportunity to achieve my goals.
Wow, it's incredible the Army has stood behind you like that. I mean, not incredible, that's what they do, but it's just, and you're calling yourself not a role model. I'm seeing a role model at every turn here. Um, well, really. So you win again. This is your fourth gold medal in skeet. You come home. I'm hoping the media has been chasing you down. It did take me a little while to get onto your calendar. So I'm hoping, I mean, I see you as a role model. I'm hoping they're chasing you down enough.
It's been pretty busy. It really has, and I've done a decent amount of traveling as well. But I've had quite a few people, reaching out to me asking for speaking engagements, and different media has definitely reached out. But you'd be amazed at just how quickly things fall off on the media side as soon as the Olympics are done, especially for somebody in the shooting sports. And yes, while I've gotten some, a lot of them have started to mostly track into the shooting genre of media, and which is totally fine because that's where I'm comfortable at. But at the same time, I was able to get some bigger local media things going on, and then a couple of NBC Universal stuff. But that was still while I was at the games.
Right. I think Fox News would have you on or something. We need, you need to be out there speaking. Um, so, so that's interesting. So you're in Texas now, and you said you had 400 students come in recently. Are these from local clubs and groups, or are they traveling to come and shoot with you, or how does that work?
So here where we are, we're in North Texas, so we're just north of Fort Worth, and we're very, very close, like 2 miles away from Texas Motor Speedway. And so my partner originally built this place. It was just a couple of skeet fields and a couple of trap fields that he put together for his son's high school team. And a couple of other high schools joined in. And when I met him about 6 months after he did that, I said, "Hey, here's my vision. This is what I think we can do, and this is what I want to build." So he agreed. We partnered up, and pretty quickly thereafter, put in a sporting clays course, put in more skeet fields. We're actually putting in another one right now too. So in total, now we have 3 sporting clays courses, a 5 stand, and about to be 6 trap and skeet fields. So we have all of these kids that are coming in and shooting are on local high school or middle school teams. And so, like Byron Nelson, which is a high school just a few miles away from us, and Flower Mound and South Lake and Keller, a lot of the local cities around us, they've got about anywhere from 10 kids as the smallest team up to 60 plus kids on a team. And it's all through a club level sport at school. And so we're just trying to give them a place to be able to come out and do what they found a passion for, similar to what I found whenever I was 10, 11, 12 years old. And the hardest thing is finding a location to be able to do that. We have several clubs in the area, but the vast majority of them don't have the space for kids. And some of them don't even want the kids around. They're private member only clubs. So we made sure that when we built this, we're youth centric, and that's what we focus on.
You have certified trainers helping them, or what's your process for keeping this safe and organized?
So each one of the teams, their parents have to go through a coaching class, and there's so many different parents that volunteer. They need to keep a certain number of coaches on the line at each time, and so typically you're going to have two coaches on each field or with each group of kids that's going out. So one that keeps them safe, but also two, it keeps them parental supervision for sure. And so for us here at the club, we do have some coaches, and obviously I do some coaching as well. But for the most part, these kids team, we try to empower the coaches with the knowledge. If they come and talk to us, we'll happily give them some tidbits of information that can help the kids or help them better coach these kids and help them get better as they're going through over the course of the school year. But some of the schools even bring in some of our coaches for coaching clinics. And so the coaches will stand back behind, listen to our coaches as they're working with the kids, and just try to glean as much information as possible. That's what we truly try to push for them is it's good that you guys are out here and watching them and being safe, but you also need to be passing along really good information too. And so again, we try to empower them to do that the best we can.
These are lucky kids. So you're helping coach, walking around as that role model. I'm curious, as you've been in 5 Olympics, um, over that tenure, over that time of your competitive um, career, have you seen interest in the shooting sports grow? Have you seen it change? What have you seen?
And the shooting sports are growing phenomenally right now. It's growing faster than I've ever seen it. And when I was young and going through like the scholastically target program, so SCTP, when I went to the national championships, there were several hundred people there, and which was a pretty big youth event back in 2003, 2004. Now you have thousands of kids that are there competing at the national championships. Then you have hundreds that are just at their state or regional championships. And you're looking at like places like Wisconsin and Minnesota that have 35,000 high school students that are competing in a high school league. That is the statistics that you need to really truly prove the growth that's going on. And what they're finding is that all these different kids that are coming into this are they don't have to be just your purebred athletes that are trying to play baseball or basketball or football. They can come out whether they're an athlete or not and have fun and be a part of the team and have the camaraderie of having a group of like-minded individuals. And so some people hunt, some people don't, but they're all around the shooting sports and just again having fun. And we need to embrace that more as a country and as a sport in general is it's meant to have fun. It's meant to bring people together. That's what sport truly is about. The competition side of things, yes, that comes into play. We want to be competitors, but at the same time, we're not just going out and trying to wreck each other. We're building up that foundation of working together, being a part of a team, but also understanding that individual efforts matter too.
Yeah, I've noticed it isn't a certain type of body type that necessarily excels in the shooting sports. It's more hand to mind or whatever's going on there. So someone who might not be athletic in football or baseball might do well in the shooting sports.
Oh, absolutely. We see it all the time. While, yes, being a truly gifted athlete can help your progression go quicker, it's not the end all be all. And I will never run fast enough or lift heavy enough or hit hard enough to be a professional baseball player or professional football player. But I'm enough of an athlete that I can go out and I can work on perfecting my craft to break targets. And that's what we preach to these kids is yes, it's do I want you to take care of your nutrition? Absolutely. Do I want you to take care of your physical fitness? Absolutely. All of those things come into play as the professionalization of the sport comes in. So if they have aspirations of going on to the Olympic side of things, I try to push them into, okay, let's develop you as an athlete as well as a shooting athlete. So it's more of a holistic approach. But at the same time, if you just want to come out and do this for a hobby, you don't have to be in incredible shape to be able to go out and break targets. But will it be healthier? Yeah, of course. But at the same time, you just get to go out and have fun and you get to go out and break targets and you see the results of your effort right there in front of you.
Yeah, I'm curious culturally, especially through the parents of these kids. Maybe they hear about it in high school and a friend is on a shooting team and they're interested in it and want to take it up, but their parents haven't been gun owners. And then you're dealing with parents who are unsure about whether this is good or not. Are you talking to them? Do you see that or no?
There are quite a few actually that this is when they come in and they'll rent a gun and then they shoot and the kids fall in love with it. They say, "Hey, look, we've never owned a gun before. What do we need to do?" And so then we get the chance to walk them through that, which has been really fun. I've never really experienced that until owning this range of convincing someone that owning a gun is a good thing and it's not a bad thing, but it's an opportunity to understand responsibility, to understand commitment, and to understand what it takes to really be the kind of person that you need to be on a daily basis. Because if you're going to own a gun, then you need to know that yes, this gun can absolutely do bad things. However, it's not meant for that. It is only meant, especially the guns that we sell here, it's only meant to go and break targets. Can it be used to go hunt with too? Yes, of course, but it's used for a very specific person. And so you go through all these safety trainings, you go through all these understanding of this is what it's meant for, this is how I use it. And then those kids, they see that responsibility, they appreciate it because they thrive on having having some type of responsibility and something that they're in charge of. And then that changes the parents' experience. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that said the shooting sports have changed my child. The shooting sports is the reason why I have my child back because they were going down a path that wasn't good. And then all of a sudden now, because of this, they're straight back with us and we know that they're safe. We know that they are on the right track again.
Right, they learn the NRA rules of gun safety. With that comes a certain responsibility of using a firearm in that safe and responsible way under a coach on a great range. How could that not be a positive experience the way you're doing it? Um, and how that builds them. I can't even imagine what you're seeing on a daily basis in that kind of place. I mean, I would think you, even in your own self, if we look back at your journey, it must have helped shape you over the years, being a competitor and how you had to discipline yourself.
Oh, absolutely. You know that okay, safety first, yes, but you have a responsibility of making sure that safety always comes first, from just not just yourself, but also from those around you. And knowing that okay, what I have to do is such a precise movement every single time. That discipline that it takes on a daily basis of perfecting your craft, of pushing yourself beyond what you think is you're possible or what you're capable of, and then also learning how to be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's a huge piece where too many people today don't want to jump off into because they're like, no, if it's uncomfortable, I don't want to do it. I don't, that I want to be in my comfort zone. But the problem is you get no personal growth. And you have to grow as a person on an everyday basis to be able to improve yourself, to be able to understand and get that experience. Because experience is knowledge and knowledge is wisdom. And we need to understand that being wise and having discernment is a crucial key point of life. That's it's not just getting older makes you wiser. No, it's experiences and it's an accumulation of those experiences. And by dedication of going and doing, you know, pushing yourself to be better every day, that's what increases that experience. That's what increases that wisdom.
Right? If we could juxtapose some kids who are unfortunately just on video games, getting that kind of alternate reality with kids who are doing the program that you have going on there to see the differences in the growth, I think it would just, well, it wouldn't shock us, but I think it would shock some people that the growth in that. Now, let me ask you a selfish question, because as like everybody, I'm a skeet shooter, and the focus that you have in order to break those clays over and over again, that's something I've struggled with. Is that something that can be taught or learned, or there are tricks toward it? Um, some advice.
Uh, it depends on the person. It really does. But for me, when I'm teaching this, it's all about repetition. So you go through kind of three key pillars of, at the beginning, it's quantity. It's, you need to shoot a lot of targets because you need to see a lot of sight pictures. So meaning you need to be able to see the target clearly, but then also understand where the barrel's at in relationship to the target, otherwise known as lead, right? We're not looking at the barrel. It's more of a, the way I describe it, it's more of an awareness of the shadow of the barrel. You put the shadow in front of the target in the same spot every single time, and therefore you get the desired outcome. And then you have the consistency aspect. You have to not just go out once a week and shoot, 1,000 targets. You have to go out 5 or 6 times a week and shoot 200 targets. And that consistency, as well as a quantity amount, gets the brain and the body and the muscles moving and learning what the sight picture is supposed to look like, what the proper movement is supposed to feel like. And you start to manage those things a little bit better. Then all the while, you're trying to build on the quality. So every single time you're taking a shot, it's a quality shot. You're doing the right movement every single time. You're repeating that same process every single time. So you have quantity, consistency, and quality. Those are your three pillars. If you can focus on doing those three things and whatever it takes to achieve those three things, then you're going to get better.
Is there gamemanship at a place like the Olympics? Are people getting in each other's heads at all, or is it pretty much everyone is in their own silo?
I think that there's probably some people that try it. I know that there's been some people that tried it on me in the past, but what they don't realize is that I really don't care what anybody does. I'm totally oblivious most of the time to what's going on around me because I'm focused on what I'm doing. And most of the time now, especially as I've gotten older, I understand I'm not thinking about shooting unless I'm on the station. So I'm back off when I'm like in Paris. I'm off the station. I'm looking around and I'm looking over. It's like, oh hey, yep, there's my wife and there's my kids and there's my aunt and my uncle and there's my mom and looking over off to the side and I'm just thinking about random things about, okay, well, if there's that many stands going up and by this many stands going wide, how many seats are there? How many people are actually here watching? And just random things like that. Because in the end, I need to be able to compartmentalize and go in and out of that zone, if you will, the high performance zone where when it's time for me to turn it on, I'm standing in the station, I'm calling pull, and I'm executing my process. But when I'm off of it, it's too much energy now. I just have to let it go and just have some fun.
So you're opening up, and then it's time to shoot. You get into your spot, your station, and you're clearing your mind and focusing on the target.
Exactly.
Sounds simple. It sounds simple, but it's
It's a
not.
simple process.
It's
It's a
hard
little bit
stuff.
more difficult to achieve all the time.
One last question: all you're doing, all the kids you're working with, as much as you travel, and I keep calling you a role model because that's what I see you as, and the growth we're seeing in the shooting sports, over 22 million people since 2016 have become new gun owners. Are you hopeful about the future of Second Amendment freedom, or not?
I think that we need to continue to embrace the opportunity to impact people in a positive way from a shooting sports perspective. For me, I don't dive off into trying to sway somebody's mindset or sway their belief. What I want to do is show them. I want to give them physical proof of what the shooting sports looks like, what it feels like, and what it is. And so, therefore, they can then take that information and make a decision for themselves because they need to be informed. And in my perspective, I've seen it so many times, and we have members out here too that will do this. They rail against anybody that doesn't come in and want to have all the guns that they can and want to have, so on and so forth. And then that kind of pushes away people that are interested in getting into the sport or just into it, but they don't know how far they want to go into it. the more of an embracing community that we build, more of an inclusive community that we build with people, whether they hunt, whether they shoot, whether they fish, they could just be people that play tons of video games all the time, but they want to dive off and say, you know what, I've never owned a gun before, but let me go and try it. If they can find a community that's willing to accept them and bring them in, we're going to start to change minds. And I think that we can actually start to change the way that gun ownership and the shooting sports are seen in the US. And therefore, it will start to change worldwide too. I mean, India, shooting sports are the fastest growing sport in the country. There are multiple countries where that's the case too. In the Middle East, it's starting to grow and grow and grow. So we're seeing it on a world level. It's much more controlled over there from gun ownership perspectives. But for us, we need to continue to embrace having more people coming in and give them a reason to want to come in.
Great advice. Thank you, Vincent.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on today.